Good morning, fourth grade math students. Today we're working on chapter 10, lesson 11. We're going to skip lesson 10 and we're going to move on to lesson 11 because we're only going to be doing 3 lessons of this division before we take our test on Friday. Tomorrow we'll have a math Zoom meeting, and that will be based on going over any questions that you have on this dividing of fractions and to know what to expect for the test on Friday, which is going to be dividing and multiplying fractions. So make sure that you are working on IXL on both dividing and multiplying fractions. All right, let's start off with the review. For the first one, this is 4 divided by 1/5. So what this question is asking, or this equation is asking, is how many 1/5 pieces are in 4 whole rectangles. So to be able to figure out how many 1/5 pieces are in 4 whole rectangles, we need to divide our rectangles into fifths, since we have 4 holes. Oops. And then we need to count how many of these pieces we've created, which is also just another way of saying 4 times 5. So we've created 20 1/5 pieces. So in this problem, 4 divided by 5 is equal to 20. In the next problem, we are looking at it a little bit differently. We are looking at how much will each of the 5 pieces equal to form 1/3 of the rectangle. So here we divide the rectangle into thirds to represent the fraction, but we're going to also divide each third into 5 pieces. And this is going to then tell us 1/3. So how much will each of the 5 pieces equal to form 1/3? So one of these 5 pieces in each of these thirds equals to how much? In order to figure that out, we're going to count all the pieces: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we're also going to see that this is also very similar to what we know as a 3 times 5. But in this particular one, since we're looking at just one of these small pieces, the answer to this problem becomes the denominator, and my answer is going to be 1/15. All right, let's do one word problem as review, and then we'll get into today's lesson, which is pretty much similar to what we did yesterday. But I'm going to teach you more of a mathematical way of doing it so you don't have to use the charts, or I'm sorry, the drawings. All right, so in this question you have Nancy spent exactly half an hour each time she mowed her neighbor's lawn. She mowed the lawn for a total of 12 hours over the summer. How many times did she mow the lawn? All right, Isabella R., what are the key words here? You're going to choose half an hour each time she mowed, and you're going to choose 12 hours over the summer. And correct, you're going to identify what the question is asking always is how many times. So how many times did she mow the lawn? So hopefully we don't get a fractional answer with this. Because when we have, she did something a half an hour each time, and then she has a total of 12 hours of doing it, we want to figure out how many half an hours fit into 12 whole hours. So that's going to give us the how many times. This is why we know we're not going to get a fractional answer, because we're looking to fit 1/2 into 12 how many times? So in this case, we're looking at having 12. If you were drawing a picture, you would draw 12 of these rectangles, you would divide them all in half, and then you would get your answer. So this is also looking like doing a 2 times 12, which gives you 24. And we're getting a whole answer because of the fact that we're looking for how many half an hours fit into 12 hours, and that would be 24 24 times, because that here is where the problem is asking that. Now, in order to check this, we're going to go back and we're going to apply our problem, which was basically 12 times 2 equals A, and that was this problem, which was 12 divided by 1/2. And we're going to check that by taking the answer, which was 24, timesing it by 1/2, and equaling the dividend, which would then be 24 over 2, which would equal to 12. And then we know we've checked it. All right, so in the examples, it's going to go over these problems where you're going to just draw a picture, and then we're going to go over review that again. And then I'm going to teach you how to do it mathematically so that you, if you feel comfortable, you do not have to draw a picture. All right, so here in this problem, Elijah is sorting his music into playlists. 1/2 of his music is rock. He wants to make 3 separate rock playlists. If each playlist is the same size, what fraction of Elijah's music will be on one of the rock playlists? So here we're going to look at the keywords again. Dylan letting us know the keywords. You have 1/2 of his music is rock, that he wants to have 3 separate playlists for rock. And again, looking at the question here is, if each playlist is the same size, what fraction of Elijah's music will be the rock playlist? Very good, Dylan. All right, so we're looking to find 1/2 divided by 3. So this model is going to show that the whole is all of his music, and we have broken down all of his music by half to show that half of his music is rock. Then we're going to separate the rock section into 3 groups, which represents this 3, because of the fact that he wants to have 3 parts in one rock section. Now, if we want to know what the fraction of the whole of Elijah's music based on rock music and the whole, we also need to separate these other half by 3 to apply the whole part. Now all we're going to do is count the parts, and that's going to be our answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 parts. So divide each section into 3 equal parts. How many equal sections are there now? You have a total of 6. And how many of the parts represents the fraction of the music that is on one of the rock playlists? Well, that's just going to be one of those sections, because he's going to separate the rock music into 3 groups, and he wants to know what fraction one part of the whole. And therefore, one rock playlist section is equal to 1. The total sections, which is 6, is equal to 6. So Dylan, 1/2 divided by 3 is, you are correct, 1/6. All right, another example to make it just, if you make the problem a little bit larger, doesn't make it any more difficult, just more lines that you're drawing. So, Isabella T, on this one, I want you to identify the key words as I read them. In the buffet line, there was only 1/4 of a pan of spaghetti left. 3 friends decided to divide the spaghetti evenly. What fraction of the whole pan of spaghetti did each friend receive? So they're already giving you this, but in a normal word problem, you would not have that. So, Isabella, what did you find? Correct, you found 1/2 of a pound of spaghetti. You have 3 friends who are going to divide the spaghetti evenly. And the ending is the question, what fraction of a whole pan of spaghetti did they get? So you're going to apply their fractional section to the whole pan of spaghetti that was already eaten, and then you're going to determine what the fractional amount they will receive after that. So in this problem here, the model shows it already divided into 1/4 sections. And that's because of the fact that we looked at here where it says 1/4 pan of the spaghetti. So you want to take the whole, divide it into 4 sections. Since we had 3 friends sharing it, we're going to divide each one of these 1/4 sections into 3 parts. And now all we're going to do is count the parts: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We also can look at this as a 4 times 3. However, since we're looking at only one of these pieces here, and this is a 1/4 divided by 3 problem, we're going to be looking at the fact that we made a total of 12 sections. And Isabella T, what would be our fraction that we're going to create? 12 is going to be the denominator. And because we're only looking at one of these pieces, 1 is going to be our numerator, and our answer is 1/12. So 1/4 divided by 3, Isabella Tom, is 1/12. Excellent. And S in this particular problem is going to equal to the fraction we just created, Dylan. Correct, 1/12. And therefore, Isabella R, each friend will receive 1/12 of a pan of spaghetti. All right, so let's talk about how to solve math mathematically instead of using an actual picture. In this one, I'm going to take these 2 different division problems and I'm going to solve them both in the exact same way using the exact same steps. So here are the 3 steps when you're solving a division problem with fractions mathematically. This is the 3 steps here that you want to memorize so that you know. The first step is going to be change any whole numbers into a fraction. This here says 1/4 divided by 3. I need to change this into 1/4 divided by 3/1. That's how you take a whole number, make it into a fraction. You put 3 as the numerator and you put 1 as the denominator, and that equals the same as 3. And then the other fraction is going to be the same, except for it's going to be 3/1 divided by 1/4. Now this is very important that you make it into the whole number into a fraction, because what happens in the next step is going to determine how you're going to solve this problem. So the second step we're going to do is we're going to flip the second fraction. Every single time you divide fractions, you're always going to flip the second fraction. This is called the reciprocal. And it's just going to show the denominator is going to become the numerator and the numerator is going to become the denominator. So in the first problem, it's 1/4, and then you're going to flip 3/1 to 1/3. And in the second problem, it was 3/1, and then it was divided by, but I didn't want to. And then since the fraction is 1/4, we're going to flip it over to be 4/1. Then what we have to do is when we flip the fraction, we're going to have to change this division sign into a multiplication sign. So that is our third step. We're just going to multiply the fractions. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 3 is 12. So 1/4 divided by 3 is 1/12, and 3/1 times 4/1 is 12 whole. We don't need to put over 1 anymore because that's reducing it, and therefore that's going to multiply our fraction. So 3 divided by 1/4 is 12. All right, so if you have any questions about how to solve the problems mathematically, make sure you reach out to me tomorrow in our Zoom meeting. For today, I'm going to give you the keyword. The secret word is 13, the number 13. So make sure you write that down with yesterday's secret word in the weekly challenge that you'll turn in on Friday. And then you're going to complete, you may do the independent practice, that's optional, and then use the answer key to check your work. And then you can see that you understand how to do this, then do the math homework. And again, if you have any questions, please ask me on email or hold on to them and write them down in your math notebook for tomorrow in Zoom. All right, have a good day. Enjoy.